Hi everyone, great to have you with us again for another session. I've got Anthony here with me again. Say hi to the folks, Anthony.
Hi all, great to be here, Mina, and loved the last session where we talked about the Community Champion Award and how it came about from all the health and wellness advocacy that we've been doing in the community. And today, really looking forward to having a conversation with you around business, getting into business, being in business, and scaling up. So I'm excited.
Fantastic, I'm excited too. I know you work quite a lot with mortgage brokers, right? So you're always around people who have a business focus, but at the same time, we want to focus on health because it's not just about working. We work for a particular reason. And I guess today it's about touching up on those reasons and the vital things business owners need to keep in mind throughout their business journey.
Yeah, no, spot on. Look, a lot of business owners, before they become business owners, there would have been a spark that went on somewhere as to, hey, I want to do this business. And it started from somewhere. Look, hopefully it started from the right aspect being, I'm passionate about flowers, so I want to start a flower business. I'm passionate about property, so I want to get into real estate. I'm passionate about kids, so I want to build a business around prams or something like that. So hopefully the reason for the start was from that spark, and there was a reasonable why behind that start, if I'm on the right track. Hopefully it wasn't because my mate's doing fantastic in that business, so I want to get into it too. I have a friend who's always talking about how well they're doing and he's driving this and he's always flying around, so because of that I want to get into it. So yeah, hopefully we could delve into that a little bit today.
Yeah, fantastic. I speak to a lot of business owners, clients, and one of the first things I ask them is why do you do what you do? Initially, it's okay. We want to make as much money as we can, and we want to save as much tax as we can, so we can reinvest that. Why do you want to do that? And a lot of the times, it tends to be, as you mentioned, I am passionate about a certain thing. I want to look after my family. I wasn't born in this country, so my parents came into this country, and they worked very, very hard. And what I want to do now is carry on that legacy, that discipline that I've been taught, that they've passed on, and make them proud of me. And again, just look after myself, look after my family, and give back wherever I can. What do you find people share with you? Are there any particular stories? That's just one story someone's told me as an example.
Look, I'm lucky because I have over the years worked with about 3,000 mortgage brokers over the last 17 years or more. Right now, I work closely with 117 businesses, and they're in various stages of their business. So inception to running a business to scaling up. And I get to see all three phases of that. And it's rewarding to see or rewarding to hear a business owner say, I'm doing a 4-day week and I'm spending 3 days with my family, or 1 day with my mates and 2 days with my family. It's rewarding to hear that I only work Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. I've got staff to handle all my extra workload. And I am spending a lot of time with my kids, taking them to sport, attending all the things that I need to attend to with my partner. That's what I love hearing.
I think those people who work 4-day weeks, they're probably in Queensland because there's no benefit of working 4 days here in Melbourne because you don't get to enjoy the fifth hour. That's atrocious at the moment, but it's getting better slowly. There's always hope. And on the subject of hope, I want to talk about really building that hope. Now, you mentioned there's different stages that business owners go through, and the first one is the start. What's been your experience with business owners and how they start their journey?
I want to say that they start majority of the time with a good plan, with a good business plan. Majority of the time, there are certain, like I said, some of the people might want to get into business for the wrong reasons. They may not have a business plan. But majority of the time, when somebody comes to me with a business plan, I know, okay, these people are serious. When I look at the business plan, then I can see how serious they are. If they've really done the research around their demographics, if they've really done the research around how, realistic they are on that plan. And then also they've got some growth plans built into that business plan. So when I see a business plan, if they've got most of those parts covered, then I know they're serious. If they haven't, it could be that they are PAYG with an employer, and they really haven't got the skill set to do that, and that's okay. When I interview them, then I can sort of go, okay, these people, I can understand and go, but these people know what the end vision is. They just need some help to get there, and love to help them with that. Love to help people, realize that vision for themselves.
Fantastic. My experience personally is that I find a lot of business owners have a business plan, but that business plan isn't down on paper. That's been my experience. Now, I've helped business owners put together a detailed business plan, and vast majority of the time that tends to be when they're looking at getting finance. So the bank wants to see that the person has put together a business plan and really they've thought this out, right? They've looked at what could go well, what could go wrong, and it's not so much what could go wrong and what could go well. So, if things go well, that's fine. We don't look at things that could go wrong, or, we look at the things that could go wrong and we say it's hopeless. It's always about raising the various things early on and jotting down how we can tackle them, right? Because once you get into business, I find it's a bit hard to tackle things or try to put, extinguish the fire while the fire is raging, because you're trying to put out numerous fires. And so having a business plan allows you to think beforehand as to what I need to do. If something happens, I can very calmly look at the business plan and say, okay, I've already addressed this. If I haven't addressed this, I'll reach out to someone who can help me with it. But at least I've written down the various things that could go wrong, the various things that could go right, how to leverage them, and the things that could go wrong, how to mitigate them.
That's spot on. Look, any business plan should have the SWOT analysis. So, go through your strengths, weaknesses,
tell us what SWOT means,
look at the opportunities that are out there. And then also, like you mentioned, the threats, it could be as simple as not having the right staff. Could be the threat doesn't always mean competition. A threat could be just your own, lack of skill set, and that's okay, because if you've got a powerful enough why, you can hire the right people that are very good at a particular area and let them do what they're good at, and you can manage the business or you can run the business. Right? That's ultimately what I like to try and help my brokers and my business owners get to, is work on the business.
Yeah.
Right? So to work on the business, you don't have to be the specialist in every section of the job.
And that is so important.
Yeah.
That is so important. So I've got a document that I share with clients, and if you want that document, reach out. But the document really says, what they should be focusing on, what they don't like and they shouldn't be focusing on, and how to delegate that away, whether that's operations or marketing or so on and so forth. But always have that conversation with business owners and say, are you focusing on the things that you need to be focusing on to push the business forward? And that's the key here. It's not about the business owner doing the things that they're good at. Sometimes business owners actually need to do things that they're not exceptional at, but only they can do it. They're the person who is in the position to actually do that. And so they actually have to upskill themselves. They have to make sure they get the advice to, again, take those steps to push the whole organization forward.
Yep. Spot on. And one other thing that I wanted to stress here is that there's a lot of information around work smarter, not harder. Absolutely right. However, be mindful that when you're getting into business, there's no better recipe than hard work. Like, you have to put in the hard work, get the momentum going. Once the momentum is there, then yes, 100% you need to reevaluate and then look at operational efficiencies on how to work smarter. So if you want to put a business plan together and go, okay, I'm going to be a smart person now and I'll find smart ways to do this, it's not even going to get off the ground, right? So you have to open the doors, you have to get it going, you have to do the hard yards, you have to get some income coming in. And once the income and the momentum and the customers are coming in, then you can look at operational efficiencies to look at how to do things smarter. Could be, these days you can integrate AI. There's a lot of areas that you can integrate AI into. Like, to give an example, you can put a chatbot into your website so that you don't have to have a staff member sitting there answering, looking at what customers are coming to your website and answering, questions. There's a lot of things that you can do to make the business smarter after the hard work is done.
I'm going to disagree with you there.
Good.
Let's have a healthy debate, right? I think it's important to work smart, and I think a part of that is actually working hard. I think some of the things you mentioned, such as AI. You can block out time in your calendar, I believe, where you are working very, very hard, and other times where you are working smart. And for me, working smart means you are, and again, something we touched upon before, it's working on your business, right? Now, one thing that comes to my mind is sometimes people don't want to do the work. They focus predominantly on working smart, which to them actually means doing no work whatsoever, right? Now, unless you're born a king or a prince or something like that, that's not going to work. Long term, that's not going to work out for you. So I believe that working hard is about building that discipline where there is no excuses. I will continue to push. But I do believe that we also have to work smart because, especially with things like AI these days, businesses that are working very, very hard might not survive long term because you have businesses working both hard and smart. So you've got that combination. And I'm going to pass it over to you again, just to continue a healthy, I guess, debate or disagreement. Or I think we're agreeing, but we're just agreeing in different ways.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. Yeah, you definitely do need to have a good combination of that. You can't just sit there and look at, spend a lot of time looking at how to do things smarter, how to do things better. Some jobs you just have to start doing. There are some jobs you just have to start doing. So yeah, I think we're both in agreement that you have to have a good mix of both. But the smart work will come in when the time is right as well. There's a spot for both of that. Yeah.
You know what? I just sighed when you mentioned hard work again. For whatever reason, I sighed. And sometimes when we think of the hard work, we think, oh my goodness, this is going to be such a huge task. Like, this is a freaking mountain. And I am at the base of the mountain, right? Well, I haven't even got to the base of the mountain sometimes. Our minds play the tricks on us. So I guess one thing I want to bounce off you is if our minds take us there and we see something as being so huge, right? We're scared to touch it. We're scared to begin the work. What advice can you share with us to help us push on?
Look, there's a couple of things that we can do depending on your personality. Depending on your personality and your skill set, you could decide that you want to tackle the hardest job first, get that out of the way, then the rest becomes easy. Some others like to take things little parts of the job at a time. So if there's a big mountain there, I guess you can call it climb it one step at a time. Or some people might say you eat the elephant, one bite at a time. So yeah, look, hypothetically, let's just say as a new business owner, you've got a whole heap of leads that are coming and you've got to make 20 cold calls, right? And if your personality is the type that you're not really a sales type of person and you even don't even like it just picking up the phone and having a call, making those calls.
Yes.
So the two personalities would be, one, you might say, look, you know what? I'm just going to just ring the number. Once I ring the number, I'll decide what I'm going to say.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Or you might decide, or the other personality might decide, okay, I'm going to give myself a target to just ring 3 numbers and have a break.
Yes.
Come back, go and do something else, come back and do another 3 phone calls. So that's a very basic explanation on how to do those 2 jobs. So hopefully that's given you a bit of an idea of how to get through a hard work that you don't like to do.
Yeah, I think it's a great example. I think it's always great to push yourself and say, okay, well, this is actually a difficult task. And you know what? You go to the gym, right? I go to the gym. I don't hip thrust as much as you do, mate.
Hopefully that'll be edited.
that's staying in there. But sometimes I see you, not sometimes, I see you do a very, very heavy weight. And something you say to me, which I absolutely love, right? And it shows your humble side, your human side. You say to me, Mina, I didn't start off with that weight. I slowly built and got to that stage. And so it really is about doing what you can. And that example of just making one call or just initially just saying, I'm just going to dial the number and press the green button. And then what happens next, you're going to deal with it. I'm going to deal with it. We'll figure it out. I think it's a fantastic example. I think it's a great way to move into setting smart goals using the SMART acronym. So what are SMART goals?
So there's a big difference between vision and goals.
Yeah.
A vision, I'm a very big believer in vision. The reason for that is when I envision something, I want to smell it, feel it, really live it in that moment. And I haven't even achieved it yet, but I know that's what I want. Okay. And if I'm really not feeling it, I don't want to start. I don't even want to do it. That means I'm not really in that business because it's not me. It's not my personality. I might be getting into it for the wrong reasons.
Yep.
Right? So I really want to vision it. So hypothetically, let's just say I enjoy what I do now, but let's just pretend that I want to open a shoe store.
Yes.
And my vision might be having a store in every state.
Yep.
My vision might be the reason for me to do that is so that I can travel to different states with my partner, and then my partner can come along
Yep.
while I'm doing the business trips. We can have a bit of a mini break, claimed as a tax deduction. Hopefully, I've got a great accountant here that can help me with that.
Yep.
So if my vision is aligned with my personal lifestyle as well, to me, that's what I want.
Yeah. First thing, I didn't know. This is the first time you shared with me that you want to open up a shoe store. I thought maybe you want to open up a gym, maybe.
A gym.
Yeah.
So that's very important to me.
But I'm okay with you if you want to open up a shoe
The
store.
shoe store, yeah.
Each to their own, mate. But I see what you say. Yes.
And also, one of the visions would be is to make enough money so that it becomes a tool for me to do the things that I want to do.
Yeah.
Not for any of the wrong reasons. Sometimes people, want to earn a lot of money for the wrong reasons. So yeah, different people will have a different vision. So that's very strong. But that vision could be a 20-year vision or 15-year vision or a 10-year vision,
Yes.
right? With the goals, when I say SMART goals, so they've got to be very specific. Now, I do this for my personal self, where I set I've got an Excel spreadsheet.
Sure.
It's 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and before retirement.
Okay.
Right? And whenever I feel like, I'd love to have that. As an example, a
Yes.
bike.
Yes.
Now, whenever I'm in front of this spreadsheet, I'll have a look at what quadrant I want to put that into.
Yeah.
Like it's got to be specific.
Yeah.
I look at like measurable, like achievable, like how bad do I want it? Do I want it before retirement, or do I want it this year because I want to use it as transport?
Yes.
Right? Then I might be keep thinking. It might be coming to me going, well, I really want to buy another property in my superannuation.
Yes.
Right? Then I might think, well, I've already got one, so when do I really want it? And then I'll have a look at that quadrant and put it in there. And what I want to do is as I complete them, put ticks on them. And so I do want to give myself some short-term goals. So, as I tick them, I get a bit of a dopamine hit, right? Dopamine hits are those feel-good hormones.
Yeah. Very important for when you're actually achieving tasks.
Yeah.
Beneficial tasks. Yeah.
Yeah. So that way, when I visualize it, I can see some green boxes, which means I know I'm achieving them as I go. So you don't want to set goals that are not realistic, and you're never achieving these things. They're so like I have heard the term, shoot for the stars and you'll land on the moon. That's great and all, but if you keep going for these goals that you're never achieving, then there's gonna be a point in your life you're gonna feel that pain. You're like, wow, I feel so tired because I've got these goals and I'm getting so close to them, but I'm never achieving them. Your brain does need some dopamine hits for you to keep going and going and going.
There's a concept of called stretch targets, which means I set a target, and once I've hit that target, I have that stretch target above that target, and it pushes me even more to see if I can actually meet that stretch target. So sometimes we're actually incredibly capable of doing things, but mentally we need to start the challenge. We need to start tackling it, and then realize, oh wow, I can actually do this, right? So that target actually it's not really a high calling for us. So the stretch target becomes the higher calling for us, really, to really push us. And that target can be in terms of anything. I mean, that target can be in terms of monetary. And again, sometimes we have an unhealthy approach towards money, but money at the end of the day is a tool, right? It's like a knife, right? You can either cook with a knife or you can kill someone with a knife. It's the same tool, but we're either using it to do good things or we're either using it to do bad things, right? So we need to have a healthy approach to money and finance. But it can also be things like, I want to help my team members to grow personally and to grow at work, knowing that work, for example, is actually a tool to bring about personal growth. Like, for example, I might not be great at public speaking, or one of my team members might not be great at public speaking. So instead of leaving them not to do any type of public speaking, I will encourage them to put together a PowerPoint presentation. And maybe at the start, I might say to them, you put together this PowerPoint presentation and we will present it together. So the person doesn't feel overwhelmed. They've got that sense of support. And then the next time, the person can do that PowerPoint presentation, can get up and present all by themselves. They really get that adrenaline flowing, right? They really feel that sense of achievement. You know what I'm saying? So
I want to go back into the goal setting again as well.
Yeah.
So I know we're talking to business owners, but if you're listening to this and you're still in the PAYG environment and not in the business, I do talk to a lot of business development managers who wait for the targets to come from the banks or real estate agencies or whatnot, and then they go, "Oh wow, that's a stretch target. That's a tough target." What I with my peers and with other BDMs that I've coached and mentored in the past, what I say is, take a break a half a day off or a day off about a month before you know the target's going to come. So generally around early June, right?
Right.
And then you give yourself a target. Right? You give yourself have a look at all the clients that you haven't been able to talk to for the last 3 to 6 months. Have a look at all the businesses you haven't been able to touch for the last 3 to 6 months, and think about, because we all know we get 80% of the business from 20% of our top clients. So what about all the other 80%? Can you slowly drag them into the top 20 as well? So so take the time off, really think about what you can do, and give yourself a target. So generally what I used to do is, because I know how much more I can do with the existing relationship that I've got, that I haven't really had a chance to focus, my normal goals are so high for the new financial year that when the company targets come out, I'm already way ahead. I've already given my mind that I can achieve that generally, even when I missed that I've far superseded or exceeded the company targets, right?
Amazing.
So with the goal setting, sometimes you also do need to step outside, like have that helicopter view and go, you know what? Am I doing the best I can? Am I already talking to everybody? Right? So that's another good way to think of it. Now, when I flip it into business owners, I'll use mortgage brokers here as an example. When I talk to them, they will tell me, well, the market's really tough at the moment, or the market's this, and the properties are not moving, and this and that. And the way I coach them is say, yeah, I agree with you, the market is tough. I agree with you that things are not moving. I agree with you this. However, what if you look at this? You only need 0.00000000001%, probably even less, of the market share nationally to hit your business goals. All right? You're a mortgage broker here in Victoria, but you can service the whole country. So really, out of the whole country, you only need that percentage of the market to hit your goals, and probably even super exceed it, right? So you can't tell me that you can't do an event every week. You can't go to a BNI every week. You can't go to do a post every day, one on TikTok, one on Facebook, one on LinkedIn. You can't tell me you can't do all of that, right? So we've got to look at what is the activity that we can do to drive the business that we want to get out of it.
Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. I think also with that, we do need to be realistic and set achievable goals, because the last thing we want to do is set goals that are just preposterous and we won't get to them, right? I think a part of that is, if we need to upskill, we find the courses or we find the mentors that will help us reach those targets, right? So sometimes it's not realistic for us to do it on our own. It's realistic though with the aid of other people. And if you don't mind, I'm just going to mention, one of the reasons why I went into accounting. There's several reasons. I'll touch up very quickly. For me, it was my dad. Like, my dad had huge capabilities. He's very, very smart. He runs his own refrigeration mechanic business, but I found his accountant wasn't providing him the advice. It was more just compliance, which means we'll do your tax return and sayonara, we'll see you next year, right? There wasn't that. Let's look at your key performance drivers. Let's set some KPIs. Is there anything you might need to do personally, any courses you might need to do personally that will help you to grow and keep pushing yourself, right? Because I think that's very, very important. And so for me, it's important to have that personal touch, to have that relationship with my clients, understand what makes them tick, find out what KPIs they need to set to to push themselves. And at the same time, look at the key performance drivers and build on those key performance drivers. Sometimes we focus so much on the target and we think it's huge, but when we focus on the key performance drivers, we say, hey, if I just push this button, pull this lever up, twist this thing over here, all of a sudden I've got momentum. So for me, it's very important to act as a business mentor, a business advisor, and a tax advisor to my clients, understanding what drives them and helping them on their journey.
I love how you merged that coaching into the same conversation around the business goals, because I personally have been blessed to have a mentor for many, many years. Before that mentor, I was working very hard. I was going places, I was reaching targets, but I was working very hard. And people used to say to me, oh, you're doing really well, but we feel like you're having a bit of a scattergun approach. Right?
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. And within about 2 years of being mentored by this national sales manager, I managed to really focus in and sharpen my skills on a lot of different areas, and that helped me get 80% of my volume from the 20%, plus keep working with everybody else. And then soon started to realize that he was really a good mentor in many areas, but to be but to be great in many areas, I needed a different mentor to help me with different areas. Right? That was really, really an eye opener for me. And then once I started with a different mentor, I found that I didn't give up my previous skill sets, but I just kept adding and adding and adding. And it really helped me polish in a lot of different areas. And then when I started looking at presidents, when I started looking at top athletes, and I thought to myself, wow, all of these top performers have a coach. All these top performers have a mentor. So it's great that I've had success because of contribution from these people spending their time. And I didn't even know this was, sometimes I didn't even know that I've been mentored. But they knew how to ask me without telling me what to do, they knew how to ask me the right questions so that I find the answers myself. So it's very important, like you said, Meena, that you upskill yourself to a certain level that you can, without telling your customers what to do, without telling your clients what to do, you should be able to lead yourself in a way that you can sit with your clients and ask the right questions that they come up with the answer themselves.
I love that you mentioned asking questions and getting clients to come up with the answers. I think an amazing skill for a mentor is to ask questions and know what questions to ask. And it's not about the mentor being the hero in this story. It's about the mentor being the guide. And a lot of business owners don't understand that. Now, I feel you can gain mentors from different areas. So your mentors can be human mentors. They can be online programs. They can be books. I'm going to go so far as to say it could be nature. Like one thing I look at, and it's something that I've mentioned to you previously. I look at nature, I look at a tree, and how a tree builds. A tree focuses on building, one branch at a time, and that branch has other branches coming out of it. So it's focusing on different things. A tree, believe it or not, actually cooperates. There is incredible cooperation underneath the soil, and I went down the rabbit hole with YouTube channels regarding how trees grow and microbiology and plant life. And believe it or not, under the soil, there's all these microbes and bacteria and fungi and all these kind of living organisms that work together to help the tree grow. And in helping the tree grow, the tree, through photosynthesis, if I pronounced that correctly, hopefully I did, creates sugars and gives it to the bacteria, which feeds the bacteria. And so you have this reciprocation that is ongoing. And so these organisms, these different forms of life help each other where they both benefit. And it's the same thing I feel with a coach, right? It's a relationship too, because I feel that the coach is growing also because they are learning things about themselves through that journey of questioning. And they're actually realizing that their mentee has different skill sets that they can actually leverage off. So I think it's always about cooperation at the end of the day and being respectful in that relationship.
Yeah. And just to confirm something there, the mentor doesn't always have to be older than you. I personally learn so much from my kids when it comes to health and fitness now.
Love that.
Right? Because, I'm busy with work, I'm busy with a lot of different things, but they're focusing on gym and health and fitness more because they're in their early 20s. So for them, these days for young people, value for them is not working Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. Value for them is experiences. Value for them is feeling good, looking good. So they've had far more experience already in that short time, and they've I was never looking like that at their age, right? So I go to them for some advice sometimes when it comes to certain things, and I try them.
Amazing.
So in saying that, there are so many young entrepreneurs these days that have made it, they're making millions, right?
Yeah.
And the great thing, what I see with these young entrepreneurs that have made millions is that they're using those millions for experiences themselves, and they're very much interested in the corporate responsibility.
Yes.
They're giving back to charities. They're amazing compared to what I used to be in my early 20s. In my early 20s, it was just getting a 9-to-5 job, saving, trying to buy a house, all the traditional things that our parents told us how to grow up and how to get through in life, which is great. It's got me where I am today right now. But it's also helped me allow my kids to be free thinking, allowed my kids to try new different things. So my tip is don't feel like a mentor has to be an older person than you.
Amazing. I do believe that we can learn from everything around us, so long as we have a humble approach. And one thing that you said here is that you learned from your kids. Now, I'm pretty sure the drive that your kids have this very day comes largely also from you, because they've seen their dad, how hard their dad works. They've seen their dad go to the gym, be dedicated to that. And they've seen their dad probably cry from delayed onset muscle soreness. And again, keep pushing for that. So again, I think it's something that you touched upon. Again, it's working hard, working smart at the same time. Momentum breeds momentum. And I think if you do start working hard, if you have that push, that drive from the get-go, even if you don't know, you just taking one step forward will inform your future steps and will just help you continue to build that drive, I find.
Yeah, and one thing that there's a lot of things that I think about why I'm doing something today.
Yeah.
One of the things is that I always think, I don't mind to share this, I'm nearly 45. I always sit there and think, at 50, will my 50-year-old mind and body thank me for what I'm starting today? At 55, will my 55-year-old mind and body thank me for what I'm starting and doing today? And that's become a real powerful force in, that moving one step forward. Like, to give an example, people are often ask me, why I exercise 7 days a week. Because to me, I've set that as a discipline, so it's not a chore for me. It's not that oh my God, I have to drag myself out of bed and go to work.
That's exercise, isn't it?
Just getting out of bed.
For some people.
Right? So I actually feel like my day is a slump, or I'm having a bit of a boring day almost if I don't get that done in the morning, because that gives me the dopamine hit. Similarly, I'm so grateful, I'm so lucky to be in an industry that I'm passionate about. I get to work with great people like yourself, Mina, and lots of other great people. And to me, it just feels like we are continuously helping each other. It doesn't feel like I'm going to work at 9 o'clock to help somebody do a home loan or get an override in a home loan or anything like that. To me, it just feels like I'm going to work today to help somebody, and it's not a chore. So always sit there and think about, well, if you're 22 years old now and you're listening to this, think, at 30, will I thank myself for what I'm doing today?
Yeah, very important. I think sometimes when you're younger, you want to speed up the process of personal development sometimes you get frustrated and you want to skip over things. I think it's very important to work smart, but also work hard, and know that there are steps. There is a winning formula. So it's important to get the advice. It's important to stay a few years in working under someone, right? Working for someone so you can build up that skill set. And this is going to move us into something that I'm very passionate about. I think it's important to always have objectives, though. And when you're working with someone, working for someone, to ensure that that place is helping you to grow. Because sometimes there are places of work that don't have the right culture. Now, it's not necessarily that someone is intentionally putting you down, but sometimes people, just based on the experiences that they've had, they might not have that spirit of coaching, that spirit of training others around them. So we need to be cognizant of that. We need to be aware of exactly what we want to achieve to build those relationships, but also understand that we want to grow. And we need to find those environments where that culture will help us to grow and to thrive.
100%. It's very important, like if you're in a small business, to employ the right people. It's very important to really understand what type of people you want in your business. One of my friends in the industry, he's not in our company, but he always says, I employ people that I can go for a drink on a Friday afternoon after a big week, and I can genuinely have an honest, open conversation. That's the type of people that I want in my business. I want people that have my back when I'm not around. I want to have people in my business that have the same drive, not the same driver, because they have different values and they have different visions, but they understand what my values are, and they are on the bus with me. They are, when they say yes, they're coming on this trip with me. And obviously, as a business owner, once you've hired them, and let's just say you've gone past the 3 months or 6 month probation period, okay, then you genuinely know, okay, I've made a mistake. It's okay to make mistakes. We all make mistakes. It's part of the learning process. If you've made a mistake, have an open, honest conversation, and go through a KPI plan and see if they want to stay on board or not. And then if they are on board, they, based on your leadership skills, you might be able to get them to own up to, hey, I'm not putting in my 100%. And then you as a leader might say, well, let's do this together. What can I do to help you upskill? Like, can I, train you in a different way? Can I enroll you in some courses, whatever it may be, like you've touched on a couple of times, right? It's not like, oh, it's been 6 months, it's not really working out, but keep doing what you're doing. Do you know what I mean? Like, that just doesn't work out. And firing is also not, unless they've done something really wrong and they continue to do really wrong, and also they are a bit of a virus in your business, you definitely want to get rid of that person, because those kind of people, unfortunately, after you've given them a few chances, if they're still not learning, it doesn't work out?
I think you can really weed out the weeds early on in your business, but that involves the business owner recognizing what values they want to instill in the business. And it's not just a process where the business owner, comes out and says, everyone, I want to build a great culture. Here are the values that I'm going to impose. I think it's about building genuine buy-in from your employees and your suppliers, your customers. And it's about communicating your values, but also getting feedback as to what those values should be. What's important for people, what's important for your employees. And based on those values, you also look at the objectives that your employees, your staff, who look up to you, who you should be mentoring, what they want to achieve through the activity of working in your business, because they've got their personal goals too, and they need to see their personal goals being aligned with the goals of the business. So again, the whole organization is moving forward. To have a car move forward, you need all the gears and all the different aspects of the car working in harmony and working for the same cause. And I think this is very, very important. A lot of people, what they do is they say, I'm in business, I want to make a lot of money, I want to look after my family, and my employees are a mechanism whereby I achieve that. Yes, but there are mechanisms where you actually need to invest in these people and you need to help them grow. And once they grow, by default, the whole organization is growing too, and your customers are happy, your suppliers are happy. You really have that flavor resonate throughout everything that you do in your business and your personality too. I mean, your personality has to be aligned with your values.
Yes, one thing that I like to talk about in terms of leadership is if ever you're starting my theory and what I try to impart on other leaders in business or business owners is that if ever a staff member is not doing the right things or going on the right direction, don't point the finger at yourself. Like, what could I have done differently? How could I have led differently so that they actually, so I can get the best out of them? I see that a lot. And I see it regularly, where when a staff member is not doing the right thing, it's the staff member's fault. But I think things can be a bit different by trying different leadership skills.
Yeah.
And when it comes to customers, right, you're spot on. You can't decide that you don't want certain type of customers because they bring too much stress, right? You might decide there are certain type of customers that for the net profit that they bring in, they create too much work or they create too much stress and anxiety, or let's just say you have a business where there is some sort of social media sort of presence, and there's some communication there, and they're constantly putting some not damaging but derogatory comments on there without them knowing that they're hurting your brand. It's very important to sort of let go of some customers if they're not part of your value system.
Fantastic. Is there anything else we should add to our conversation? You reckon, maybe summarize our conversation in a few bullet points. What did you take away from it that really resonated with you?
I really want to just mainly talk about the inception of a business, but I think the conversation was so good that we went on to managing the business and scaling up a little bit as well. But I think today I really want to go back to focus on if you are PAYG, if you have come to a bit of a windfall and you're looking at starting a business, really sit there, work out your vision and your why. Really look at putting a proper business plan together, like you said. Like, you're an accountant, so you see this a lot. If the business plan is in your head, get it into paper, and don't feel bad to get some external advice from a mentor. Earlier on in this piece, like you said, you don't want to be going into business and finding, oh my God, like the fire is already raging, how can I put this fire off? Set achievable goals, and more than anything, find a way to have a lot of fun doing the hard work.
Very important. I think it's important to, again, set goals and celebrate the wins. We forget about celebrating the wins sometimes. Just continue to build that momentum. I think if there's something you're passionate about, let your employer go and go out there and do it. No, I'm just joking. There's a proper way of doing things. Sometimes you might have to work late nights. You finish at about 5 o'clock. Gary Vaynerchuk, if you know Gary Vaynerchuk, he says, you come home at 5 o'clock, you kiss the dog, and then you get stuck onto what it is that you need to do. You might need to work weekends until you build your baby to a degree where you can go full time. And that will actually allow you to assess whether that particular idea is viable. And it might be viable. It might just be that you need to still go back, work for a few years, continue to build your skill set, continue to get the mentorship that you need to go out again full time. Sometimes that idea might not be the right idea, right? Having said that, I do have clients that I've seen people at a very, very young age, they're passionate about something, and say throughout their high school, they dabbled in this particular thing. But again, they started early, they dabbled in it, they experimented. And then once they figured out the formula, they've learned, they went full time, all cards in type thing. But it's important to not just jump in, right?
In closing, I want to add the mindset. Mindset's very important, having a positive mindset. So as an example, what I'm going to say is that you might have, in an industry, you might have two people doing the same job. One person, you never hear them complain about anything. The other person doing the same job, they have ups and downs. They have bad days, they have good days.
Yeah.
You find majority of the time they're complaining. So it's very important to have a positive mindset. Yes, we are going to have good days and bad days, but approaching the bad day with a smile will make it a lot better.
I'm going to be honest, I complain. There are days that I complain, and you probably heard me complain numerous times. Yeah. But I think, again, having those people around you is very, very important because they will uplift you, right? They will mention some of the things you've already achieved. Sometimes we forget about how far we've come. And it's only when we look back, we say, oh my goodness, thank God for everything that I've achieved. I was nothing compared to where I'm at now. I was nothing. And yes, there is a long way to go, but it's about continuously moving forward.
Mina, I've enjoyed it. I loved it.
Same.
And I can't wait to do more of this in terms of scaling up. I think we didn't really get to touch base on scaling up and getting to the ultimate goal. So stay in tune, I guess.
Yep, we'll do it on the next session. Thank you very much. Guys, if you love this session, feel free to give us a like, subscribe, hit up Mr. Anthony, and reach out, DM us, reach out. We're more than happy to have a conversation with you and see how we can help you or help your community. Till then, we'll see you on the next one. Have a great one. Catch ya.
See you, bro.